Time and time again, humanity continues to do irreparable damage to the ecosystems, negligent to the severe negative impacts on the environment and the world's economy. Through overconsumption, lack of regulation, pollution, and other human impacts, fisheries become closer and closer to depletion each year. What many people do not realize is that if global fishery stocks are depleted, the world could face economic and environmental turmoil. Today, major instances of economic and environmental damage are already occurring due to the depletion of natural fisheries. Research at Stony Brook University has discovered that within many exploited fish species, a new phenomenon is occurring, being referred to as undesirable evolution. By consuming the largest and most fertile fish from the fisheries, their genetics are being removed from the gene pool, leaving the smaller, less fertile fish to reproduce. Over time, this causes the average size of the exploited fish to decrease, and with a lack of larger fish, humans thus need to consume larger amounts of fish to sustain the demand, eventually causing the overall population to decrease. Overfishing also causes food chains to collapse, creating pollution and habitat destruction. Food chains can start to collapse because other organisms dependent on those fisheries start having to compete with human consumption of fish, making it more difficult for survival. Continued destruction and depletion of natural fisheries also poses a significant economic threat to developing and wealthy countries because most of the world depends on them as resources. A study done by Eggert and Grecker on fisheries and fishing industry's impact on developing countries showed that from 1982 to 2002, the net export of fishery commodities by developing countries increased from $4 billion to $17 billion US. And in large first world countries, fishing industries dependent on natural fisheries rake in close to 20% of their total revenue. For example, the U.S. fishing industry brings in about $90 billion annually, hosting 1.5 million jobs. And in Japan, their 200,000 fleet vessel accounts for almost 15% of the world's catch. Without natural fisheries, these countries dependent on fishing industries would suffer epic economic loss, as well as millions of people out of jobs. So the question remains, what can be done to reverse or at least lessen the damage that humanity has done for our own and the world's benefit? I propose that countries should start to focus more heavily on aquaculture, providing more funding through small government subsidies. Aquaculture is essentially breeding aquatic animals and plants for consumption or use, as one does in regular agriculture. It boasts great economic benefit for many participating countries and has rapidly increased in practice worldwide. According to the Canadian Aquaculture Industry Alliance, from 1986 to 2006, Canadian aquaculture went from producing 10,488 tons, valued at $35 million, to a staggering 171,829 tons, valued at over $912 million. The problem with aquaculture is that it can cause a lot of environmental damage and pollution through waste and disease when not properly managed. I argue that with proper funding, pollution and waste management can be improved. I also propose that aquacultures must become more isolated or distanced from wild fisheries and habitats in order to lessen the damage done by waste, pollution, or disease. Finally, I propose that fisheries incorporate bottom feeders and bivalve filter feeders into their aquacultures to naturally treat and filter the water, thus helping reduce pollution and waste. In conclusion, the depletion of fisheries has a great negative impact on both the global economy and the environment. But by adding government subsidies to aquaculture industries and through improved management and environmental friendly practices of aquaculture, both the world economy and the environment can not only benefit but drastically improve from where they are now. By spreading awareness on this crisis, proposing ideas on fishery conservation to local governments, or simply voting or supporting conservation laws, people all around the world can make a difference and save fisheries for economic and environmental benefits alike.